Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Tobago. This week we're coming to you from the fishing village of Black Rock in the western end of the island. In our stories this week, $160 million is saved by the THA in Bolt agreement. $100,000 in cheques to help in sport and community development in Tobago. President urges Tobagonians to preserve their cultural heritage. Central government terminates 100 jobs at reforestation program. And Windward Tobago gets ready to swim as sod-turning ceremony takes place. You can now send us your comments to information@tha.gov.tt or visit our website at www.tha.gov.tt. See the bottom of your screen for more contact details. Stay with us. We'll have these and more stories after the break.
My name is Gail Abraham. I am the owner of Simple Homes, a reality located at 31 Bethesda Street, Plymouth. Well, a friend at church made an open request on anybody with small businesses who needed help to see her after church. So I took up on the challenge. Instead of 3 to 4 days on a large property, it's like 1 day now. Not even a full day, half day. It was very educational for me. Thanks to Almighty God. Thanks to the BDU.
Redefining business, protecting Tobago's heritage. The YES program is not another apprenticeship program. So says Finance Secretary Dr. Ansam London as he addressed the media at the most recent Post-Executive Council media briefing. The Secretary was refuting claims made by Minority Leader Ashworth Jack about the Youth's Energize for Success program, which was recently launched at Mount Irving Hotel. Dr. London says Mr. Jack's statements are false and misleading.
That statement is yet another false, misleading, and I may even say deliberately false and misleading statement of Mr. Jack. He ought not to do that. At the formal launch of YES, the YES program, it was made absolutely and perfectly clear to all present that this is not an OJT program. Let me repeat. YES is not an OJT program, and the minority leader knows better, and he ought not to engage in this kind of political tomfoolery.
For the Tobago House of Assembly, renting is no longer an option, especially if they can save $160 million worth of rent over a 20-year period. With the construction of the administrative complex for the Division of Agriculture, Finance Secretary Dr. Ansam London says not only will the THA save millions, they will also have a building to show for it. Sophie Guillaume has more.
The project, which is being undertaken by the Division of Finance for the Division of Agriculture, has sparked concern, particularly from Mr. Lionel Coker of the minority.
I don't think Coker is authorized to speak on anything having to do with the kind of project financing thing that I don't know what training he has in this area. But from his statements, he clearly is not as familiar as he ought to be in these matters. Any student of capital investment, they know that one of the criteria, the key criterion that you use in assessing a project is its net present value. To date, Mr. Coker has not asked that question. Had he asked that question, he would have begun to understand the nature of this transaction.
In this regard, Dr. London said the minority seems to have ulterior motives.
What they want is for the Tobago House of Assembly to continue renting. And I am saying the policy of the Tobago House of Assembly over the years coming is that more and more you get away from renting and learn to own your own place. You know, I even wonder whether or not some of his remarks about this project is not because he has friends. He may have friends with relatives in very high places in this country who have offered places to us to rent. They may well be his friends. Is he really seeking the interest of Tobago, or is he seeking the interest of his friends?
The Finance Secretary said the BOLT system is nothing new in the construction arena and the people of Tobago must own their own building.
We have no interest at all in a long-term policy of just renting. As I said, at the end of the period, all you have is your cancelled checks and some fond memories. Let them truly ask themselves, should Tobago be an island of renters, or should we be an island of owners? This administration has chosen the latter. We want to be owners over time, not renters from other people.
The three-story agricultural complex will utilize 83,000 square feet of floor space on the 3 acre of land at the junction of the Claude Noel Highway and Sherwin Road. The THA has entered into a 20-year bolt agreement with special projects company Millshiv Limited for the construction of the $143 million complex. Sophie Guillaume, Department of Information.
Sportsmen and women must understand that their retirement age comes early. Chief Secretary of London was speaking to sportsmen Mark London and Kenija Williams, who excelled at the Carifta Games this year. The sportsmen, along with representatives of 2 religious groups and 2 NGOs, visited the Chief Secretary's office for the distribution of nearly $100,000 worth in checks from the THA. However, the Chief Secretary stressed that it was not just a gift.
I don't want to see this as a gift. I see this as an investment in development. And therefore you have a responsibility, because you have a responsibility to go one step further.
Mr. London said the THA recognized the importance of partnership with other sectors of the community to maximize development on the island. He said that the THA had a responsibility to encourage individuals and organizations who are achievers to go further.
We have a responsibility to support these organizations where possible. We also have a responsibility to encourage individuals and organizations who are achievers or potential achievers, and to ensure that we do whatever we can to facilitate their development.
With Tobago enjoying the achievements of its Olympians quite recently, the Chief Secretary warned that it can't just be about sport, but holistic development, and said he has been in talks with Assistant Secretary for Sport and Youth Affairs, Huey Cadet.
We have agreed that sometime within the next month, we are going to be facilitating sessions for sportsmen and sportswomen in Tobago to be able to get whatsoever training and whatsoever assistance necessary to give them the best chance to get various SAT scores.
$16 million is a lot to swim in, but it's all good for the residents in the windward part of Tobago, who will have their very own swimming pool by June 2013. At the sod-turning ceremony for the Kendall aquatic facility, residents were informed that the pool being built by the YMCA will have more features than the $12 million one built in Corland.
We see this $16 million not just as a gift, but as an investment in the development of the people of Tobago and the people especially of Windward Tobago. Because you are getting a quality facility, a facility that includes a learning pool, a competition standard 25-meter swimming pool, seating capacity, administrative center, playroom, cafeteria, etc.
President of the Argyle Village Council, Marilyn Trotman, praised the Assembly for their initiative.
We who live in the East know that schools and other sporting facilities, sporting groups and things had to go quite down on the other side to get to a pool. And we are having one here, so I want to thank him for that. I am hoping that in the next 4 years after this pool has been completed, the next Olympic or the next one in the next 8 years, we might have an Olympians from this area, the windward part of Tobago.
Chief Secretary Orville London said it's about resurrecting and bringing balanced development to Windward Tobago, stressing that development is an incremental journey.
Development is a never-ending thing. So there are always going to be things that need to be developed. There are always going to be things that need to be improved. There are always going to be things to criticize the decision makers about, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But while we do that, we must not forget the journey that we have traveled.
Meanwhile, Assistant Secretary for Education Huey Cadet said the THA is willing to partner with any agency to bring development to the island.
The Tobago House of Assembly would have partnered with the YMCA and a number of other organizations for the construction of a swimming pool at Corlan. And in going forward with this swimming pool here at Kendall, we felt that the lessons that we had learned and the way that the pool had been constructed at Corlan, that we could take advantage of that to bring that kind of expertise to the people of Windward, because we are about ensuring at the end of the day that Tobago people get the best. And this pool here, ladies and gentlemen, the people from the wire here, is going to be even better than the one of Corlan because they have added a number of new features to it.
The pool will be able to accommodate not only training, but also aquatherapy.
The presence of this aquatic facility will provide great opportunities for organized groups, clubs, be it sporting, community, schools, church, youth groups, to exercise and come together, not just to train, not just for training and competition, but for recreation and relaxation.
With this in mind, Area Representative Hilton Sandy advised the residents that many business initiatives can be derived from the construction of the pool.
It's time that somebody in Kendall think of upgrading the house to be some kind of a rest house or hotel, because we're going to expect guests coming right here in Kendall to relax, so they want place to stay. You'll find when you come to the pool, somebody can sell some hot dogs or something, some sweeties for the children that will be here. So you have some commerce taking place right here at this facility.
Sophie Guillaume, Department of Information.
Their operations range from the protection of Tobago from drug smugglers and poachers to disaster relief operations. So in celebration of our nation's 50th anniversary, they came to remind and show Tobagonians what they've been doing to protect the island's marine environment. Omadara Mills has this report.
They started with 6 naval officers and 4 small launches on August 27, 1962. Now, the National Coast Guard is a fleet capable of carrying out naval exercises which can counter terrorist attacks at sea. This according to Commanding Officer Mark Williams, as he reminded those gathered of the Coast Guard's service to Tobagonians in 1963.
Our greater moments in serving were in the aftermath of Hurricane Flora, which devastated Tobago in 1963, and which occurred 1 year after the anniversary of your Coast Guard. We still remember with pride the service we rendered in support of you in your time of need.
From defending the island from drug smugglers to protecting the nation's fisheries resources, Deputy Chief Secretary Hilton Sandy shared other examples of the Coast Guard's work on the island.
As we handle the crime situation in Tobago, I know the Coast Guard would have assisted in seizure at sea of lots of drugs in Tobago. You would have assisted the fisher folk missing at sea. You would have assisted the fisher folk when we had problems with the Bajans out there in the waters.
Commanding Officer Williams described how they will be increasing their presence in Tobago.
In order to improve our service delivery, we intend to enhance our presence on the island with the construction of a new dormitory and messing facility for our base in Scarborough, and in addition to improving our physical presence in the Charlottesville area in the coming year.
Here's what persons thought about the National Coast Guard's first ever commissioning on the island.
I thought the event was awesome. I thought it showed the capability of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, and it really showed what we can do as a country. And after 50 years, I thought it was a great display of what we are capable of.
Well, it was a tremendous one. We got to see exactly what the Coast Guard do, because normally all we see on a day-to-day basis coming from Tobago is the vessels patrolling. So the public of Tobago is not aware of the emergency situations that the Coast Guards have to pay attention to, what they have to train for. So it was really an eye-opener for the public of Tobago.
I am Omadara Mills for the Department of Information.
One more month. That's the extension 100 workers with the National Reforestation Program in Tobago will be getting after the central government terminated their employment on August 16th. Sophie Guillaume has more in this report.
The central government is seeking to redirect the program and hire private contractors, but according to Secretary Gary Melville, the hiring of private contractors goes against the THA Act 40 of 1996 and against the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the government back in 2004.
The Tobago Assembly Act, Act 40 of 1996, under Section 25(3), states that any agency, state agency and so on, that wants to operate in Tobago in an area for which the Assembly has responsibility, that agency has to sign an MOU with the Tobago House of Assembly.
Under the 5th schedule of the same Act, the THA is responsible for forestry, environment, and state lands. The THA wants the program to continue and possibly on a larger scale.
So the Assembly Executive Council have decided that we want the program, but we wanted to continue to work with the community groups, and that because we are responsible for state lands, we do not want any private contractors going on to state lands in that program.
Secretary Melville says the move by the ministry is illegal and in violation of the said act.
Our position is, as an assembly, that we, if this is what the direction in which the program is going, then we are going to invoke our authority under the Act 40 of 1996, and we will take control of the program. The workers will basically report back to their community groups, and we are not going to allow any private contractor to be operating within the program.
Mr. Melville has since written Minister Ganga Singh expressing concern over the redirection of the program with no response to date.
I was informed that a private contractor went to the Argyle project, went to the Argyle group, and tried to get the workers to go work with him. As a matter of fact, I believe a couple of the workers might have gone because, of course, they are a bit scared because they were told that the program is no change and they have to report to these individuals. The Assembly has not been informed as to who the private contractors are. We do not know how they have been selected.
The Secretary assured the workers that arrangements are being made to ensure their employment till the end of September 2012.
Argyle, the present direction continues. We are going to take over the program with a brand new program. We have developed it already some months ago. We did not want to get into any conflict with the government, so we were willing to wait until the end of this project before we go ahead with implementing our own program.
Sophie Guillaume, Department of Information.
That the present program only deals with Argyle.
We take a break.
Right. I'm from Mariah. And the name of the business is The Right Aerobics Club, Wellness and Fitness Center. I want to open a spin club because I realized spin is the in thing now. And she said to me that she knows somebody working at the office at Glen Road. And it was shocking to me to see how quick I got through. Now that I have the 5 and people hearing about the spin here, phone call, there's people just call me, want to come, go, get the information and just apply.
Redefining business, protecting Tobago's heritage. Decades ago, this old Moravian church functioned as the first school in the village of Blackrock, encouraging literacy. Now, statistics say 1 in every 5 adults have literacy problems and don't know it. This is according to the United Nations, who declared 2003 to 2012 the Literacy Decade. In recognition of World Literacy Day, the Tobago Institute of Literacy marked the occasion with an awareness campaign on the Scarborough Esplanade, which included one of the Institute's success stories. Sophie Guillaume has more.
Having worked with several secondary and tertiary institutions across the island, the Tobago Institute of Literacy offers classes to adults from 16 years upward. Administrative Assistant Nadine Granville-Caesar says the Institute does not stereotype or discriminate.
Right, we try not to say they are illiterate. We just try to say that they are slow learners or they have different learning difficulties and they learn in a different way to like a normal person would learn. Yes, we have classes set up. We have a class at the Scarborough office, Carrington Street. We have one at the Bonaccord, Milford Court, Canaan Bonaccord, Milford Court, Esplanade. We have one at Montgomery Primary School. And at this point in time, we are organizing some to be done at the Mason Hall area, Speyside area, and a couple other areas in the communities right now.
The institute also boasts of success stories.
We have persons who have gone as far as England and has picked up a job, a skillful job, and can hold their own. We have other persons that are able to go to the bank and fill out a form. Some persons are able to go on to do the CXC exams, right? And some persons are able to go and actually hold on a job.
One such person is Kashif Rowley, who has been with the program since he was 6 years old.
I used to get a little problem with my reading and also my speaking when I was younger. When I go there, they try to figure out the direct problem of my speaking and also my reading problems. And they actually try to work with me along those areas. It's better to try to pick up the problem earlier than later.
Kashif said because of his speech impediment and reading level, he used to feel left out.
Everybody think I either dumb or I am an outsider or something. But with them, they don't look at your faults, but improvement. I feel very good right now that I have improved. I can actually go out in the field of work to, how to put it, express myself more, read what I'm supposed to be reading in my workplace.
To have such success stories, a literacy educator needs to be passionate and dedicated to the job. It takes more than training, and as such, there's a shortage of literacy educators.
And you have to be able to understand the learners as well and how they learn in order to disseminate the program or the lesson plan, right, for the students to understand, because each individual have a different learning style. We have a kinesthetic, we have a tactile, we have auditory, we have visual. Some of them might be two-in-one or overlapping. So it's not just an employment. You have to be trained, understand what is expected of you as a tutor, and you have to be committed to doing the program.
Meanwhile, Kashif is advising others to assess themselves and seek help.
Once you can actually see to yourself something wrong with me, you need to find the next step to try to improve it. And if it takes about a couple months or some years to try to find help, you need to find it.
Sophie Guillaume, Department of Information.
No ham for the Christmas. President of the Agriculture Society, Owen Dillon, said that this might be a possibility because of the higher price of corn. Mr. Dillon was speaking at a ceremony held to hand over equipment bought by the Division of Agriculture for the Tobago Agriculture Society. The tools purchased will form the Agricultural Society's tool rental project, which was formed to help farmers overcome labor challenges.
So we recognize the labor is a challenge in agriculture. And we think if we're going to go anywhere, we need to start to mechanize agriculture in order for it to become profitable and worthwhile. Hence the reason we have taken the first initiative. When we had the cries of some of the farmers, the brush cutter is done, they can get a pole pruner, nobody to spray. We think we're going to make the first step to make the tools available.
Mr. Dillon said that farmers must take seriously their responsibility to provide food for the nation. He added that with the new initiative, the cost of food should go down.
We have to come up with some innovative way in Tobago. Either we start to use breadfruit, banana, cassava or something to start to make feed for our animals. We cannot depend on the corn that's coming from the U.S. Because if the U.S. has no corn, it means we are no livestock industry.
Praises came in for the Secretary of Agriculture, Gary Melville, from the Agriculture Society and the Trinidad Agriculture Society. They recognized him as playing an instrumental role in acquiring the equipment.
Secretary, you have broken many glass ceilings. You have set a new standard in the way we do business in Tobago. I can promise you, sir, that these tools, this investment will be a great rewards, will be a great fruit to the people of Tobago, and by extension, I see in the near future, the people of Trinidad, because I know under Mr. Dillon's leadership, we will see a lot of food being produced, we will see the cost of food being reduced and made more available to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The sweet sounds of Steel Pan, including BlackRock's very own Cats and Jammers Steel Orchestra, the melodious voices of music festival winners, the graceful movements of African dancers. It was a Sunday to remember. Hundreds gathered at the Dwight York Stadium for Voices and Steel, a tribute to the nation concert hosted by their excellencies, Professor George Maxwell Richards and Dr. Jean Ramjan Richards. The concert was held in recognition of Trinidad and Tobago's 50th anniversary of independence. Both their excellencies and patrons were entertained by a tasteful synergy of some of the island's best cultural performances. With a culture as rich as Tobago's, it was no surprise that the president of the country urged Tobagonians to preserve their culture.
You, the artists, have reminded us of Tobago's distinctive contribution to the cultural panoply of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. It is also a distinguished contribution which you should be careful not to diminish, cause to be diminished or watered down in any way, especially by the overwhelming influence or influences of other cultures near or far.
That brings us to the end of Let's Talk Tobago for this week. On behalf of the Tobago House of Assembly and the Department of Information, thank you for viewing. See you next week.